As I lay in my bed in a sleepless night, the memories of terror of the black individual emerge before my eyes. As I silently relive involuntary memories that I was forced to witness and live through, the feelings that emerged within me makes me sick to my stomach. And inside of me, there's a furious tsunami of questions, emotions, mixed feelings, disappointments, and disbeliefs rising within me, causing my humanity to repulse this world, the cruelty and audacity of humankind toward its own. My repulsion and thoughts led me to recall the darkest history of pain brought upon the soul of enslaved African queens and kings that were ripped away from the core of the motherland, Africa. To be dehumanized, sold, and tied up like nothingness on the European and American ships to slavery on the other side of the Atlantic Ocean, in a long and human sea travel that led to their terror, genocide, and everlasting agony. Oh, the uttermost sorrow of my people that I've seen did not reach only my mind, but my body, my bones, and my core. The feelings that I am experiencing in my sleepless bed are inexplainable. Sensations are physically painful as I persist to keep my eye closed, trying to peacefully fall asleep. The clock keeps ticking, and these memories keep raving in my mind and in my heart. I silently wish these flashbacks could stop so I could finally rest my body in order to experience a moment of peace and silence. However, in my desperation to find silence and peace from all these painful memories, flashbacks, and deep analysis my mind is experiencing, I felt like I was suddenly taken to see something I have never thought or seen before. As I take in this unknown atmosphere, it felt like I was no longer in my realm, but in the realm of the ancestors. As I approached, I could observe non-stop bloody tears still falling from the eye and sliding over the beautiful black diamond skin. My observation led me to notice the scars that tells the story of their mistreatment through centuries of inflicted harm and exploitations. I feel overwhelmed to witness the strength, the endurance, the pain, the exhaustion to the eye. Within their soul, it's void of endless torment and servitude. Like rocks on the ocean, I could feel under my fingers the visible and invisible wounds layered on the black, beautiful, black diamond skin piles up. The wounds under my finger brought tears to my eye and pain to my soul. The painful, almost erased history of my ancestors and the revealed plague of today's continuous hate toward my brothers and sisters led me to painfully understand that even today, at this moment in time, their suffering hasn't ended. The drop of tears falling from their bodies, hitting the ground like rainstorm drop of blood and tears. I look up to them, still observing their bodies, and I could see the traces of engraved marks of lynches, chains, and human experiments, punishments, price tag, sexual and mental abuse, evil whiteness, exploitation, and so on, throughout times and centuries, left in their physical body and aura. They aura carry the As I hear the screams of terrible pain, sobs and moan, I tearfully close my eye as the voices of women, men, kids and babies whose soul has never known peace shackles my entire being with electric goosebumps of inexplainable fear.